Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to How to Lose at Chess, a series in which viewers and subscribers submit their games, and these games get analyzed, and all of our motives for playing the game of chess get questioned. I don't know what episode this is, I don't know how many of these I've uploaded, but the game I'm going to show you today is well and truly horrific. Catastrophic. And I'm not going to tell you the ratings of the players who played this game until the end. And when I show them to you, viewer discretion is advised. It might cause nausea, dizziness, fatigue, headaches. Some of you may even pass out. So put a pillow on the floor. Without further ado, allow us to jump in to today's video. Our protagonists are a Polish individual and a Greek. Kapitan versus the Greek, we're going to call the player with the white pieces the captain, who bravely submitted this game. Folks, we got about 5 to 6 normal moves, and then we just get utter nonsense. So take one last look at the board. This is like right before a roller coaster takes off. I'm going to wipe my glasses, and then we're going to get underway. The game opens with pawn to e4. That's at least so far so good. Black plays e6. Knight f3, d5. Black has played the French defense. We've got Greece, France, Poland, almost like it's a Europe tour. Tickets in the description, by the way. See you later this year. White responds with e5, which in general is a very nice move. As always in this series, we will laugh at the moves, but we're also going to learn a couple of things. In general, if you get a hit with a Caro-Kann or a French defense, which is a building block opening that hopes to establish a pawn on the d5 square against the king's pawn, advancing your e-pawn and then defending it with another pawn honestly is a very effective way to play. And people with the other color don't know how to really get out from this bind. As we are going to see, knight c6 immediately is quite a bad move. You need to put the c-pawn forward so that the knight and the pawn together fight for the center. When the knight goes out in front of the c-pawn, white can very quickly play d4, and black is not going to get a lot of mobility at all. White goes knight c3, which is a bad move, and now black is immediately better after 4 turns. Black can put the pawn on d4, dominating the center, kicking out the knight. More often than not, if a pawn can attack a knight and force it to move in the middle, it's going to be a good move, okay? More often than not. Instead of that, we have knight to e7, and now white gets this bind. Black goes knight to f5, and, you look at this position, right? And you're like, okay, black has 2 knights, and they're both looking at this, but this is very well protected, right? So white should probably finish up developing in castle. Or, while you have this very well-established pawn and very good defense, why not go here and lose the pawn instantly instead? So you disconnect the queen from seeing the pawn, which is a concept that I call continuity, which is when one of your moves impacts the vision of the board for other pieces, your pieces, their pieces, etc. And now black simply captures the pawn on d4, knight takes d4, knight takes d4, knight takes d4. Black just has an extra pawn. The knight is unprotected, so bishop b5 check looks like it would win a knight. It doesn't. It doesn't because the knight can just take the bishop. White now goes back and says, I have made a mistake, I'm going to castle, and black gets the knight out of the middle and attacks the pawn on e5, which is a very nice move. Black's next couple of moves should be to develop in castle short side or long side, right? You can also go the other way. The problem is you have a very poor light squared bishop. White, good move, develops another piece and defends the central pawn, and black plays bishop to c5, an active developing move, also preparing short castle. Now, so far, not so terrible, right? Some of you might be watching this going, I don't play as well as they do. I would have lost a queen by now. Frankly speaking, that's impressive, considering neither side has even moved a queen. So if you lose a queen without even moving it, you are certainly a new type of breed of stupid, but that's okay. Anyway, white goes queen h5. Now, queen h5, when a queen comes out this far, and you are the defending side, queen comes out, you go, is the queen threatening anything? And the answer is no. But then you ask a follow-up question, threatening meaning it's actually going to take something. what does the queen see, though? What does the queen see on that square? F7 and H7 along with the bishop. So it's quite clear there are some very nasty intentions that await over here. And normally what a person should do in a position like this and go, do I have to castle that direction? Can't I castle the other way? And then the queen is going to be rendered kind of dumb. Like, what if, G6 and bishop and queen, etc. Like, get my piece up. Now, black goes H6. And when black plays H6, black is like, hey, the queen no longer sees the H7 pawn, which means on my next move, I can castle and simply lose the game from here. What am I talking about? Well, when you castle into this type of firestorm, don't be surprised when your entire village gets incinerated. White is now winning. Not exactly with the move that is played in the game, but frankly, that doesn't even matter. White is winning because practically speaking, the position is impossible. White sacrifices the bishop. That is honestly not a bad move at all. G takes H6, queen takes H6, and the bishop and the queen are both pointed at H7. The only way to survive this position is to do something what is called hitting your opponent in the face with a blunt object. No, just kidding. It's to interpose. Block the vision of one of the offensive pieces. Because now the queen and the king are just left alone. They do a little tango, and then they fall asleep. It's a draw. That's what your parents told you, they do to make a baby. They just do a little tango and then they fall asleep. Now, in the game, black did something else, obviously. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a video. Here was black's logic. I'm going to move my rook and blunder mate in 4. Now, black didn't know they were blundering mate in 4. Black's idea was queen H7, now my king can run. Queen H8, my king will run. Queen here, my king will run. Queen here, I block. Now, that order of moves is correct. But you always need to ask yourself the following question when you calculate something in chess. What if my opponent is not a moron? And translated, what if they don't do the thing that I just calculated to prove myself correct? Right? What if they don't do that? Kind of like driving at a fast speed. You need to be thinking, you need to think that people are stupid on the road, not that they're all going to do the right thing. And in this position, white has a forced win. And keep this checkmate pattern in mind because it's going to help you in your puzzle rush, in your puzzle battle on chess.com, and it's also going to help you in games. It's the rare bishop to h7 check. And the idea of this move is to force the king to stand opposite the queen so that now any move with the bishop would be a check. And the best move in the position is bishop g6 check because you see the pawn. And now it's not about chasing the king this way, it's mate. The pawn on f7 does not have any protection. Once again, instant replay. Bishop h7, and then you drop back here and go queen h7, queen f7, if that pawn is not protected in the future. Now, here's the absolutely horrifying part about this, and this is just the beginning of our troubles in this game. White actually played the move bishop h7. White actually played that move, and black went here. And now you're probably thinking, oh, well, now white probably did something completely insane, like queen g7. No, white actually played bishop to g6. And black went here. So white actually played the whole sequence, and this could have been no video at all. That's the incredible thing about the world. Every decision, every action or inaction causes ripple effects throughout history. And this is a perfect situation. Because white went back. And then black went back. And then white thought for 0.6 seconds here and went here. And now, and only now, did white decide to go here. For what reason white didn't do that with the bishop on that square, I cannot explain to you. And after the king went to f8, white realized my bishop is going to get taken, so white went here. And now white is lost. And now white is no longer lost. you know, black can start taking the pawn and getting out the queen. Instead, we run the king into the middle of the board, and white can obviously now continue to create some threats. White's move in this next position, I cannot explain to you. You would think at this point that you're like, hey, the attack hasn't worked. I need to go bring some more material. White goes bishop to g4. I don't know why white went bishop to g4. White just tried to touch every square. I think that's... Maybe there's an accomplishment, an achievement badge on chess.com, like touch as many squares on the board with the light squared bishop during the game, and we give you this little badge to make you feel like less of an idiot. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe the idea was bishop h5, queen f7, because again, the opponent is a literal amoeba brain and is going to let you make 4 moves in a row to checkmate them. Somehow black does not have brain-eating amoeba and goes rook to h8. And now white has to move the queen. And now black continues to attack the queen because black is, you know, a beginner, obviously. And if you can attack a queen, you have to attack it. White gives a check, which is a good move. And now king f8, which nearly blunders a queen in one move, by the way. White goes back to h6 and black plays king to e7. And now white plays bishop h5, touching yet another freaking square. That bishop has gone to d3. To h7, to g6, to f5, to h3, to g4, and now to h5. Seriously, chess.com, grant this person an achievement for demonstrating to all of us how to move a light squared bishop. Now, black takes a pawn. So black has a 3-point material advantage. Our captain from Poland is definitely struggling. Now the rooks need to go to the center. And you play this... Which is really sad, because what are you going to do with the other rook? But at least the knight is under attack. Black somehow actually has even more attacking possibilities than white, even though it was just white that was doing all of the attacking. And black plays the move rook h8. Black was a big subscriber to Gotham Chess and also to the theory of danger levels, which states you don't have to acknowledge a threat if you can make one of equal or exceeding value. The problem with this move is after a move like queen to g5, now you have a major issue. When you meet a threat with a different threat, the original threat is still a threat, and your threat might be thwarted, leaving you to deal with maybe 2 threats. Say that 7 times fast. Anyway, in this position, the best move is actually king to d7, leaving the knight completely hanging, because if it is taken, black somehow launches a strong counterattack. That's obviously not going to happen. Black is going to go f6. White is now back into the game. White is now losing immediately. King to d6. And all white has here is maybe this move, knight to e4 check and rook to d1. And folks, as if the memes don't write themselves, this is not scripted. White moves the bishop back to e2. That is another square that white went to. White has now gone to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares with the light squared bishop. All right? Now, when you're playing this position with black, you're probably looking around and you're looking for a defense and everything. And I actually I don't hate the move c6. Okay, it's a terrible move according to the computer, but it's only a terrible move because white has knight e4 check, which is mate, except you have to go here, and then there's rook d1, and then black has to give away the knight and survive. That's never going to happen in a bajillion years. If anybody plays knight e4, rook d1 against you, you report them for cheating. White plays b4. A much more natural move, which loses the game instantly. Now, remember how the person with the black pieces is completely obsessed with ignoring threats? Your bad habits will catch up to you at some point. This is a threat on the bishop, and for reasons I can't quite explain, black offers a queen trade. So black is now losing a bishop with a check. Black has lost their extra piece. The king is going to walk into the middle. The queen can seal off the backwards exits, and it's over. Your king should not be out this far. All right? He shouldn't. So queen f8, you can take this with a check, or you can take the queen and then take this. Or, of course, you can just back up. Why? Why would you? Rook g8. Again, this absolute obsession with not acknowledging threats like me attack queen. And it's working. This is still a check. The queen is still hanging. But this is a check. But white freaks out and goes here. And for the love of the chess gods, black goes queen to g7, three turns in a row. Doesn't acknowledge this. This is mate. the game could end here if after take, queen b4 would be checkmate on the board. That is called a dovetail checkmate. Instead of that, white freaks out again and goes here and stops the threat. And finally, black moves the bishop because they don't have another way to create a threat. They move the bishop and they blunder it away in one move. How do you people even survive? You need to be in an MRI machine when you play chess. I mean, how? And every time I make these videos, you guys write, no. These are not the same people that I'm playing. These are statistical anomalies. And now black moves the king. Why is black moving the king? Why? What? You have all these other beautiful people. Okay, next, we're going to keep going. B5. Obviously, don't take that. Bishop D7. Now, after that little diarrhea phase, we are back to making some relatively decent moves. White plays pawn takes C6, obviously. Black takes with the bishop. White plays bishop to B5 and loses the game instantly. Bishop to B5 is hope chess, right? You play bishop to B5 and you're like, okay, if I get taken, they take, that's a check, that's a good move. Right. But what if our opponent is not an idiot? What if actually you were the idiot all along? No, but seriously, continuity. Every time you move it, by the way, that is like the 10th square that bishop has touched. This is a saga in and of itself. Every time you make a move, you need to be thinking about what that piece used to cover. Guys, this has to be on your radar at all times, which is why the best move in the position is actually to push a pawn and kick out the knight. But anyway, bishop b5 is played, and as we all know, the best move instead of winning the queen in one turn for absolutely nothing is to offer it to be traded. So now you can play queen takes, f4, rook e6, and win the game. White here, who is, low rated, is like, okay, do I want my queen traded or what? And most people are like, I want to trade queens. They have no actual justification to do so. They just don't want to trade queens. And what you're about to witness is the pure selfishness of a beginner/intermediate player. I don't want to trade the queen because maybe my queen will give a check and I will be happy. That's it. I will get one temporary dopamine boost of my queen delivering a check to the enemy king, and that's going to be that. Of course, the other person's queen just doesn't even exist, right? So, the bishop can be used to attack the queen and the knight and everybody, and like, white has absolutely no idea there's an attack brewing. Black plays knight f3 check, king to h1, and here is actually a very nice moment in this game. This is not even a joke. I know I've been roasting because that is the How to Lose a Chess series. Disclaimer, everything I'm saying is clearly sarcastic. Chess is a very difficult game, and all of us, regardless of where we are in the rating ladder, struggle with some degree of progress. We all have a natural plateau. We're all in this together, okay? If you're watching this series and you ever get offended and you want to go start a Reddit thread about me, you're the problem. You have to understand that. Not me and not the people that enjoy this content or submit their games. Now, that aside, I forgot what I was talking about, but let me stop waffling. So, king to h1, right? King to h1. This is a concept in my next book, which I've promoted at length, How to Win at Chess Next Level. If you still haven't gotten yourself a pre-order, I really don't know what you're waiting for, but this is something in my next book that I like to call relative value. The value of a knight and a bishop and a rook changes throughout the course of the game, not actually on a scoreboard, but just based on the position. Not all pieces are 3-4, 3 or 5 point pieces. Sometimes they're worth 4, sometimes they're worth 3.5, whatever. This is clearly a 4-point knight minimum. This rook is not a 5-point rook. I don't know who he thinks he's fooling, which is why the best move in this position is to leave the knight there and to immediately go for a mate. It's actually not to take this rook because you lose a very powerful attacking piece, and now you don't have such an easy game. There you go, you learned something. Queen f3 check, king to g1, and somehow, even though you can play d4 and potentially threaten a mate, it is white who is winning. Now, from this point forward, nothing is going to make sense anymore, which is kind of incredible because you've watched 19.5 minutes, so I don't understand how that now it can only stop making sense. Black goes back. I don't know why black went back. Don't know. Don't have an explanation. White finished their plan of getting the dopamine check, king to b6, and folks, the next move is actually impossible to predict. This is my favorite game in the How to Lose a Chess series. Guess the move. And now we are going to do the thing we always do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pawn moves. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. And that's not even counting the queen. I don't want to count the queen. You can count the queen. 60 legal moves or something like that. White plays knight to b1. I'm sorry, my only explanation for that move is you tried to go rook to b1 and you made a slip. Because if this move had any logic behind it, it's time to delete the account. There are many other games that you can enjoy. Monopoly, Catan, Battleship, Backgammon, I don't know, just do something else. Just do something else. Valorant, I have no idea. But if knight to b1 was not a mouse slip, I have absolutely no idea what to say. Continue to play chess, just be careful. Rook e8, queen d6, the bishop has no guard. Yo, can I just maybe suggest something? Do we think this was a mouse slip or this was a bait? Like, I want my opponent to take my bishop somehow and then maybe get checkmated? Not a clue. Doesn't matter. Queen to d6, a6, bishop back to d3. Unfortunately, that is not a move that is rare. That bishop has already been on that square. Black plays rook to h8, lining up the rook over here to attack the pawn. White plays pawn to h4, which does absolutely nothing because black can just take it and now is swarming. And this is an excellent counterattack by black. Queen to b4 check. The queens are staring at each other. Black has absolutely no idea. Queen back to b2. The queens were staring at each other. Black had absolutely no idea. Black is winning in this position if black just doubles up the rooks and goes rook to h1. Instead, black goes rook h1 alone for no reason. Sends in the rook to perish. King takes h1, and yet still black is completely winning because black can play queen f3, rook h8, and rook h1. There is no defense, but black mixes up the move order, playing rook h8 first. Now the king goes to g2. Black is still winning by a miracle. d4 check, the bishop opens up, and the game is over. But for reasons none of us can quite comprehend, in less than 0.6 seconds, black plays the move. Queen to f3 check. A move that is so dumb. White couldn't even be bothered to capture it. White had king takes queen. And black now has checkmate in 1. But instead of that, goes here. But it actually doesn't even matter. Because this is unstoppable. So white takes. And black loses the game. And that's it. And if you thought we were done, we're not. Because then, after whatever that just was, white just begins cleaning up material. but not before losing their queen, like this. So now you lose the queen, but you have a rook, a bishop, and a knight for a queen, which is winning. But not if you slowly end up pinned to your own king and then losing your knight. Your knight cannot move now, and your rook can't take the pawn. So now it's back to equal. Which means that these guys are going to have to play an endgame. It's still not done. This is like the longest movie ever. Black begins running around with the queen. White is giving a million checks because that's all they can do. And as you might imagine, the game ends exactly as you think it would end. In this position, white defends the rook in a pin, which means b5 just ends the game. Finally, the deserved victor, the true heir to the throne. Alternatively, you could lose your queen for the bishop. And then go on to get checkmated. These people were just under 1,000.